So on the medical application, sorry if I missed it. What would this is for like monitoring. What was the thought?
So what happened was the founder of the company, Dr. Murray Johns, was approached as a physician. He was approached by many of his patients who said, look, my husband fell asleep on the couch last night. We think he might have a sleep problem. And he said, well,
I see.
what do you mean by falling asleep? Was he drowsy? Was he, rubber-necked? There's so many different definitions or terminologies which were without any objectivity. So he set up a laboratory basically to test and put some context and a scale around this. And he discovered that by monitoring, and this is the complicated part I'll talk about, the speed of the eyelid as it blinks subtly changes and gets slower as the middle of your brain, which is the pons or the midbrain, starts to get you ready to go to bed. So there's adenosine and lots of chemicals that go on in the brain, but they actually cause the eyelids to change their amplitude, their speed, blinking speed. So we detect those with the glasses, and we're measuring it 500 times a second with infrared. We compute that score on the screen of the device, and we have a way to protect people. They never can get drowsy because they're getting alerted, and it stops them getting drowsy.
Wow. Actually, that's something I wanted to ask. What's the alternative? What have people been using before? I'm not saying to plug your competitors or something, but I don't even know of a comparison.
There are lots of cheaper technologies in the market. For example, a lot of people think that if I did this, for example, yawning, that's an indication of me being drowsy or getting sleepy. There's no correlation between yawning and sleepiness. It's just an oxygenation issue that you wish to do. And if I yawn, you'll yawn.
Yeah.
If somebody starts yawning and we all start yawning, it doesn't mean anyone's drowsy. So a lot of the inferior technologies at a rudimentary level offer the ability to monitor somebody through a camera, and they can give a very simple indication of, eyes closing and nodding off. That's the point when someone is actually having the performance failure.
Right.
Now, if you're driving at 100 kilometers an hour and somebody sees you closing your eyes, that means at 100 k's an hour or 80, 60, 70 miles an hour, whatever it is, that you don't have enough time to react. Any alert or warning is useless. So what we're doing is we're actually warning 15 minutes before that person can be visually seen by a camera or a person sitting beside you driving, saying, you look a bit drowsy. But we're actually warning 15 to 20 minutes before the human can even detect themselves.
So is it now these other systems then you get, I'm not trying to even pick on anybody else's system. That's not I'm just trying to understand.
Sure, Jared.
So do they end up then alert? I yawn. Now I'm getting an alert.
Correct.
Now management thinks I'm. Yeah.
And, the cameras have a weakness. We've worked with several people who've bought cameras above our technology and have realized quite quickly that the cameras have their deficiencies, i.e., for example, am I yawning at the moment?
Right.
You can disguise all sorts of things or trickery, people smoking, doing different things.
Yeah.
So we're not interested in the visual look at the human. We're actually just looking at the eyelids moving, and the speed at which they change is the indicator. And it's the point of truth. They say the eyes are the open to the soul, the truth. This is an objective measurement. It's 120 clinical papers written by people in the medical field and at any sleep clinic around the world. And even in Quebec, in here in Canada, they're using it in one of the institutes of cardiology as a tool to assist with measuring patients.
So are people getting now? If I'm a driver, do I just show up one day and I put it on, or is there some sort of like pre-thing that to learn?
Great question, John. Yeah. So what we do is basically every human has a different pupil distance, for example, or a different type of bridge on their nose. And each individual wears a pair of glasses which are fitted at one-time fitment, which these are unique to me. So if I take off these glasses and give them to you, Jared, they will not work. There's a sensor adjustment, which means they're unique to me, which is great for driver identification as well. In some of the secure mining environments, switching drivers is a common thing that people do illegally, and that prevents it. But the fitment is one time, and then we do some driver education and training, and that's really how you buy Optalert and put it into your business.
Well, what would an onboard like at a large scale mine? Is it a week? Is it a month? What does it take to kind of get that?
It can take a couple of weeks to get an implementation in, and training and education. We've got a large partner community around the world which do that, and we sell the product from Australia, but we distribute around the world and support locally. That's what our goal is. But operationally, it can be fitted in a couple of weeks.
Yeah.
And training, But the real key to Optalert is the objectivity of the data that we extract is really meaningful. And in this world of AI and machine learning, the data that we deliver can be used alongside a lot of other endpoints of measurement. For example, speed, tire wear, fuel consumption. And we've got customers who've managed to achieve 2 to 4% yield in profitability and reduction in maintenance costs of heavy duty machinery because the driver is not being allowed to produce bad outcomes with the vehicles, along with the safety element.